Good evening, everyone. Shane Jenkins here. Welcome to another episode of Chestnut Checkers. We've had a little bit of time off, but we're glad to be back in the studio and here with you tonight. Um, so I just kind of wanted to share about some of the things that have been going on in the January 6th community and in my life and some of my brothers and sisters' lives. And so we're going to talk a little bit about Bart Shively. He is fighting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which he received from drinking water at Camp Lejeune. He is a Marine. He served 7 years in the Marine Corps, and he was poisoned by the water at Camp Lejeune, which I hold our government responsible for. And then Bart was prosecuted for January 6th and did very little at January 6th. You know, he got into a little scuffle, but I don't think I think he bumped into a cop and some other things, but I don't think there was anything very, which many of us, even the one like I threw things at the police that didn't even hit anybody. So very minor things. But whenever Bart turned himself in, this is Barton Shively from Pennsylvania, and when he was arrested, the following day, he was supposed to get his first chemotherapy treatment. Um, he was stage two non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and by the time, and so he went to jail. And then in the DC jail, they denied him all his cancer treatments. That man was suffering with all kinds of sores on his body. It was just horrible to watch, especially a veteran, somebody who served his country honorably, to be treated that way. And then by the time he finally got the courts to see what was going on and got an attorney to listen to him, which was difficult for all of us as well. But he was released and he was stage four, and I'm not sure exactly where the end of the road is with the stages and all that, but I do know that it had progressed severely. And so now today, um, this is I guess June 20th. And Bart is in his final stages of fighting that non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it's eating away at his body. And he got it serving the military in the U.S. government, and was poisoned at a federal installation, and then now he was treated horribly by our federal government, and he is dying as a result. And I think that them denying him the treatment, and denying him access to proper medical care, has led us to this point to where Bart is about to depart from this world. And it is a tragedy, and it is disgusting, and somebody needs to be held to account for that, whether it's the DC jail, whether it's the Marine Corps, whether it's the federal government, the DOJ, whoever it is. Somebody needs to pay for that, or excuse me, pay for that. And so as a brother, as a friend, as a man, as a human being, it was just very difficult to watch what Bart was going through. We were fortunate enough to sing the national anthem with Bart many nights in the DC jail, and as a result, we recorded that at a studio. And most people know about the song "Justice for All," but if you go on Apple iTunes or Google Play or whatever it is, and you look up Donald Trump and the J6 Prison Choir, there's a song called "Justice for All," and that's us singing the national anthem with President Trump saying every other verse of the pledge as we do every other verse of the national anthem. And Bart was a part of that. And so, um, I was fortunate enough to, that song was released and it went platinum. And the 20 of us that sang on it will be receiving platinum plaques. We were lucky enough to get Bart's ahead of time and present it to him. Would you mind rolling that footage, Reese? To Barton Shively to commemorate the number one single, "Justice for All," for charting on Billboard, bubbling under Hot 100 and digital song sales. Number one platinum recording. That's awesome. That's great. Here, take a look at it. This is yours, buddy. We love you, Bart. We just wanted you to see that. Yeah, for sure. We love you, buddy. Sorry, that makes me emotional. If you didn't recognize some of those guys, it was Peter Stager, also a January 6er from Arkansas, and then one of Bart's fellow brother Marines, Ryan Nichols. And we all have been able to spend some time with him and see him there. And obviously he's in rough condition, but you know, this should never happen in America, and I don't understand how this has been allowed to happen. And I don't understand why this is still going on, why nobody has been taken care of, why we still have people who haven't been pardoned, why our veterans are being treated the way they've been treated, why there's no accountability at the DOJ, why, and I just don't have answers, and it's very, very, very frustrating to me. And so we're going to switch gears here. I don't want this show to be doom and gloom, but Bart, we love you. Godspeed, my friend. I'll see you on the other side. And other news, many of us got to go to the 250th anniversary of the starting of the United States Army. And the left would tell you there was, hundreds of people there. And that's just a bold-faced lie. And that it was, a dictator-esque, Putin-esque or Xi Jinping, whatever you want to call military in the streets to show force and intimidate the, Hitler-esque, whatever you want to call it. And it was that's completely false. It was President Trump honoring our U.S. military, honoring the Army, and showing that, the way that those people's lives were given up at, at Abbey Gate when Afghanistan withdrew. I have a lot of friends, a lot of 72% of all January 6 people are first responders, former law enforcement, or military veterans. And to be there in the DC jail while we watched the horrific Afghanistan withdrawal really made them question their service and what were we even doing and why were we over there to begin with. And we all look at the lies that we feel like surround 9/11, and I don't have proof of that, but I was born at night. I wasn't born last night. And so we know there was no weapons of mass destruction. The whole reason they sold us, they were going into Iraq and then into Afghanistan, and then the whole all that stuff. And so I think of all of our veterans who have lost limbs, who've lost their mental health, who've committed suicide, and we're sending our sons and daughters. And this is very applicable when you look at the Iran and Israel situation. They want to drag us into that, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But you question why all of this is going on, and but President Trump wanted to honor our Army and wanted to celebrate them, and it was a beautiful thing because we had all the different, from the American Revolution all the way, we had World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. They had all the different uniforms on the Desert Storm, and Desert Shield, I guess, was one of them. And then it was just a beautiful thing. They had tanks and Stryker vehicles, and I got to go with my brother Rob Morris. It was pretty cool because he's like, I used to drive those Stryker vehicles in Afghanistan, and just an incredible thing, and to see all the people. And there was a few counter protesters. I think we ran into about, if I had to say, probably 15, maybe like 10 with megaphones or anti-America signs, anti-Trump, whatever it was. But it was very minute compared to, I guess Soros quit funding the DC Antifa, so they weren't able to be out there in force. But Many of the people there were just happy to see, and I can only imagine. And me and Rob talked about this, how it had to have been wonderful for the morale of those young people who were just joining and got to participate, or the ones who maybe were there that were youngsters that got to see that and see, their loved ones thank everybody in uniform for their service, and to shake their hands and take pictures with them. And we got to sit in some helicopters and take pictures. It was just a really, really cool experience, and people got to kind of immerse themselves in some of the daily stuff that the military, goes through in helicopter flights or whatever. You just kind of got to get in some of the vehicles, get up close to them, take pictures with them. I mean, I saw Cobra gunships, Apache helicopters. I mean, just phenomenal stuff. So it was a wonderful thing. And then get down to the end, and we got to hear Warren Zeiders, and then President Trump, gave his speech, and the fireworks began. And the fireworks was just the scene of being in the same field that I was at on January the 6th, across from the ellipse. Looking back with my back to the White House, looking up with the Washington Monument right before me, and then just the fireworks going off. And then they would do like a song or two, and then you would turn around to the big screen, and they would have the military talking about what it means to serve and all that. And then next thing you know, we thought that was the end of it. And then you turn back around and the fireworks are going off again. And so it was just a phenomenal thing. Oh, and while they were doing the parade, I forgot to mention this, they were flying over Apache helicopters, and they were flying over Hueys, and they flew over some older, I think it was like World War II stuff. It looked like Spitfires and some kind of bomber. I forget what they were. But it was a phenomenal experience. And if you weren't there, or if you're one of these people who is telling people, don't go to DC because it's a trap and this, that, or the other, I'll be damned if I'm going to let somebody have me scared. And yeah, I got caught up in January 6th. And yeah, I did 46 and a half months in prison, but I refuse to live in fear. I refuse to bend my knee, and I refuse to not enjoy this country. And I refuse to not honor the military or people that serve this country. And so if it means me going back to DC and I get killed or I go to jail or whatever, I'm willing to take that. And I know everybody can't make that choice, but people need to quit scaring people. When you say, well, it's a trap, and you don't, who are you hearing that from? Who's telling you that? What kind of intel do you have? Do you have anything to back it up? Or are you just throwing it out there because you're afraid, like a lot of these other people are afraid? And if we all go together, if everybody's like, you know what, I'm kind of nervous about it, well, let's go together. Let's get the boys together and let's go. And let's take some of the guys with us and make sure that everybody's okay. I don't understand why these people want to live in fear. These are probably the same people that were wearing masks and took the shot and got boosters and did all this other stuff. It's time for Americans to stand up and quit being cowards. I'm sorry, quit being a pussy. It's ridiculous. And it makes me sick to my stomach. I think about all these men, and like my brother's dad, my adopted brother, his dad served in Korea, or people that stormed the beaches of Normandy. Like, you think they were worried about Antifa or some kind of federal entrapment? No, they weren't worried about it. These guys were underage, signing up to the military illegally to go down a battlefield for us. So grow a pair and get out there and support this country. Go see DC. Go spend some money at the Capitol. Go look around and see the history that this nation has, and you might have a greater appreciation for it, to where you'd be willing to stand up and fight for it if you had to. But so that kind of brings us to some more news related to January 6th indirectly. But I guess Senator Chuck Grassley has received some emails from the DOJ, I believe it was. I don't know if Maurice probably has it. He can pull it up here in a minute. But I believe it was from the DOJ, and saying that, Chinese and Iranian metal efforts buried by the intelligence community after the 2020 election. Shocker. Like, newsflash. Who would have thunk it? I went to, this was my first election to vote in, was 2020. And whether it was I didn't know, I couldn't tell about China and Iran. I know, the conspiracy nuts, the QAnon guys are talking about, they had the video from Iran and China and all that stuff going on. And I saw that, but I saw the stuff where they were pulling out the boxes underneath from the table in Fulton County, Georgia. I saw, where it was 200,000 or whatever it was, 115,000 votes straight for Joe Biden, which is statistically impossible. It is absolutely impossible to have 115,000 or 100,000 or even probably 20,000 votes for this very same person, because you're going to at least have one vote in there for somebody else. It's just statistically impossible to have them straight in a row like that. Or, for instance, a county where you have more people that voted in the county than were registered to vote. So I knew there were questions in the election, and that's why I chose to go. Not to mention, the Insurrection Act and about foreign countries interfering in elections, on domestic elections. We know that these people did not want Donald Trump in office. Iran and China specifically did not want him in office. And now to know that there's not only proof of that, but that our intelligence community is covered up. So is that not traitorous when they covered up for foreign countries interfering in our elections so that they could have the president in there that they wanted, so they could get weaponized and come after the January 6 people who were protesting the very thing that they were covering up? Does that not sound treasonous or traitorous? It certainly does to me. And so I don't understand how this is why Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, is there not accountability for this yet? I don't understand how this is still going on. I don't even know if my prosecutor's been fired. I don't think the FBI agent is fired. I don't hold so much animus against my, FBI agent here in Houston, Amy Avila. But I do have a problem in general with the officers that didn't slam their badges down on the table and say, you know what, this guy broke a window or he threw a stick at a fully armored riot gear cop. But we don't need to send a Houston SWAT team and an armored personnel carrier, and we don't need to label him a tier 1 anti-government extremist, and we don't need to put him on the terror watch list. So whenever I fly with the ski trip with my Bible study, I get swabbed for explosives and I get pulled out of line like at the TSA checkpoint, and then I get pulled out of line again before I get on the aircraft going to the ski trip and from the ski trip. I'm going with 35 Christians who've never been in trouble in their day in life, and they're looking at me like, what is going on? Why do they keep pulling you out of line? Like, what what did you do? And so it's rather ridiculous, and I look forward to President Trump, I guess, has said that he's assigning a special I forget what special prosecutor. Yeah, special prosecutor to investigate this. I hope that we can get some judges to look at some evidence this time. That'd be nice. And the thing for me on January 6th was, you don't have to do like a deep dive and prove the Dominion voting machines or whatever are corrupted, which I'm sure they are. But I wanted you to explain the things that I saw, the Fulton County, Georgia thing, the 115,000 votes in a row at 3 a.m, and then explain those 3 things in the county that had more people vote that were registered to vote. Explain those to me, and I can be like, okay, those were just anomalies or whatever. If you could give me a legitimate explanation for those, yeah, there you go. And you scroll back up to the top, it says, Trump calls for special prosecutor to investigate the 2020 election. And I know we don't want to look back anymore, but some of us do, because some of us have a lot on the line when it comes to the 2020 election. I'm sorry, but I spent 46 and a half months in prison behind the 2020 election. And so, I mean, I would appreciate it if they did their due diligence and figured out what the hell was going on and who was cheating and who was covering it up. That's what I want to know. At least hold those people accountable, the ones that covered it up and let us get buried in the concrete jungle in the DC jail or the federal prison, wherever they sent us. So not only that related to January 6th, but I mentioned it a little bit earlier, we had the privilege and the honor to sing the national anthem every night in the DC jail. I was there for 32 months and we did it every night. Whether we were locked in our cell or not, we would stand at our doors if we were locked in our cell at 9 o'clock and sing together the national anthem. And that was some nights that song really just beat the hell out of me, and I didn't want to do it because sometimes you have bad days in there. But like I said before, they found out that we were singing it in there because Mickey Whithoff was having Freedom Corner outside the DC jail every night for most of those 32 months. Her daughter, Ashley Babbitt, visited her in a dream, and she told her mom that she said if I was anywhere, there's people in that jail. If I wasn't in there with them, I'd be outside this jail protesting. And so Mickey did just that. She gathered up the crew. And I can't remember all the people that were with Mickey, but there was many people live streaming. There were many people funding it. There were many people supporting it, helping her set up the little thing she had out there with the speakers and the stage and the music and all that. And but she began to shine light on what was going on in that DC jail. And then she would broadcast us singing the anthem through the phone, and people live stream it, and people across America. I'll never forget people telling me, we used to turn our lights on our front porch at 9 o'clock every night, and we would stand outside and sing with you in solidarity. And that just used to touched my heart. And I knew that the American people love us. I hear about people who still have their alarms set on their phones for 9 o'clock at night, and whether it's Central Time Zone, 8 o'clock, whatever it is, because they used to stand and sing with us at night. And that's just such a beautiful, amazing story. Well, eventually that story got out, and they called us. They had us sing it. They recorded us specifically to record it at a recording studio. We sang it 2 times in the day room, 2 times in the TV room, and 2 times in a cell, just to get the different acoustics. And there was 20 of us. And so they took that to Donald Trump and asked him if he wanted to help us, and he said absolutely. And so they kind of worked it out. And shout out to LJ Fino, man, the producer of that song. And thank you so much. You have no idea what it meant for me to be able to take that plaque to Bart as he lay there suffering in that bed, man. It was just a special thing. And so, but they eventually took that recording, put President Trump in it while he does the Pledge of Allegiance, and released it as a single on Apple iTunes and Google Play, and it went platinum in, I guess, a matter of about like a week or two. You can look it up on YouTube, but it's funny, if you type in, you have to type it all the way in, Donald Trump and the J6 Prison Choir, or it won't pull up. But there's a good video. I think LJ Fino put that video together too, if I'm not mistaken. It's got like 300,000 views, but check it out. Beautiful, beautiful video. And I hear that song, and it just brings me to tears. It takes me back to that jail. After singing that song for at least 1,000 times in that jail together, and just going through that with those men. And so it was a pleasure to do that. It was painful to do it, and I'll never forget it. And I hope the American people never forget it. So can you play the banner across the bottom for me? Maurice, we've been fortunate enough to be blessed with our first sponsor. So if you guys would go check out sugarcreekgoods.com. Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's sugarcreekgoods.com. These are the soaps that we have right here. There's many different scents. This is a small family owned company out of Indiana, and it's called Sugar Creek Goods. Use promo code Shane when you go on their website. You will get a 15% discount. And they are looking out for us for selling their products. But man, they have some of these bars, and we've all smelled them, man. But especially the Freedom Bar, as Jeff McKellop says. I don't know if you can see; it's kind of got a glare on it, but I don't know. There you go. Maybe you can see that. But Jeff McKellop says, you can hold it up to the camera for me. There you go. It's still got a freaking glare. Okay, there you go. Sugar Creek Goods. That's the Freedom Bar right there. And as Jeff McKellop would say, if Jeff McKellop did on the Cowboy Logic, he said, if I'm going to insurrect, I want to smell my best, and I use Sugar Creek Goods. So definitely, we're going to have some commercials coming up for you guys. But man, thank you, Valerie over at Sugar Creek Goods for giving us an opportunity to market your product and to try them out. So I got my care package. They have everything from shampoo to beard oil to soaps to body butter. And man, this stuff smells so good. And there's some scents that I really like. I mean, there's some manly scents like lumberjack, and then there's sunrise. It smells like a freaking sunrise, if you could imagine what that smells like. But I was extremely impressed with all their products. Did I say insect repellent? I don't know if I said that or not. They do have insect repellent, and all these are all natural goods, and they're made in America by American patriots. So please go out and support these people. If you guys want to follow us, go to rumble.com/the real J6, and that's where you can find all of the content we've created. And also on that channel is, I think it's linked to that channel, but it's all the interviews I've done and stuff like that. So if you guys want to check that out, share that out if you can. Share out the Chestnut Checkers. We're also doing I'm doing Liberty's Cage through the America First Warehouse with Sarah Maccabee. And I don't know if I get to talk about all that, but I want shout out to Joe the Box and the people at the America First Warehouse. If you have not got to check that out in Ronkonkoma, New York, phenomenal. I'm a Southern guy. I'm from Texas, and so I wasn't sure um, how I was going to enjoy New York, but yeah, Yankees. Well, you know how they are. No, I don't know. I just kind of every time I've ever been in jail with somebody from New York or New Jersey, they're just loud and obnoxious and like overbearing. And I'm like, golly, I'm kind of a guy that's like, okay, it's gonna be quiet because I want to be mindful of everybody else around me, and they're just like not that way at all. And but man, the welcoming and the loving and the patriotism that those people shared up there with me, such a phenomenal time up there. So if you guys get a chance, go to the America First Warehouse.com. Check that out. We also have a show on there called Liberty's Cage. Sarah Maccabee and myself talking about justice reform, talking about January the 6th. But check that out. And then, it was phenomenal to go. DVS 7.0 invited us to a rally up there. I got to go speak at the City Hall in Manhattan. And just a phenomenal time. Joe the Box took us to what was that, Outlaws in a Kansas concert. Man, just like fourth row seats or something. The lady from the radio station, I cannot remember her name. So many people to remember and thank, but man, such a good time and just good people. And so sorry that I prejudged. There you go. There's America First Warehouse right there. Sorry that I judged you Yankees up there, like so harshly. But yeah, man, if you guys get a chance, they're having events all the time at the America First Warehouse. They film live from Studio 6B there Friday night, every Friday night live. I believe from 6 to, is it 8? I think it's 8 to 10 p.m. But it's a party. I don't want to say it's a party. It's a good time. Let's just say that. You got Kevin Downey Jr. and the boys from Studio 6B, man. Kevin Downey Jr., shout out to him. I got to go on his radio show up there in New York, man. Just a blast up there. There's upcoming events at the warehouse, and I'm sure I will be back up there soon. And so, Joe, Teresa, if you guys are watching this, no, I'm coming back. And hell's coming with me. No, not really. Texas is coming with me. So hopefully we can send some people your way. We love y'all, and I can't wait to see y'all again. So I hear that Zelensky he's decided that he needs an allowance. If you can pull that up, Maurice, when you get a chance. I know Zelensky's determined that all he needs a year is 40 billion a year. So just to get by, like, he just needs 40 billion so he can launder that through there, kick it back to Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn and Nancy Pelosi. He demanded 40 billion, and he with his little. I really like the memes when JD Vance and Donald Trump had him in the White House, and they had the little baby legs on him, where he was like a little baby, and he was throwing a fit, and you had JD Vance pointing at him. But who in the hell? I mean, I know I'm sure Lindsey Graham and Tom Tillis and a number of people want to give you the 40 billion a year. They want to keep you funded so you can keep that war rolling, so their military industrial complex can keep manufacturing their artillery rounds and those bullets and all that stuff that they make money for doing, all the helicopters and missiles and tanks and drones and everything else they make. You got to keep them going so they can lobby, through those senators and Congress people and keep money in their pockets. But thank you, National Pulse. And I don't know if is Raheem Kassam still with the National Pulse. Okay, he's not on War Room much anymore. I don't know if he and him. Okay, he was recently. Okay, I like Raheem Kassam. He was one of the kind of the first guys that I saw host in lieu of Steve Bannon. But really like Raheem Kassam. You know, I love everybody over at the War Room. We got to meet them at CPAC. Phenomenal. Natalie Winters, nice. Jack Posobiec, to put it politely. Natalie Winters is nice. He's easy on the eyes. Okay, what am I going to say? But who in the hell? Who does Zelensky think he is? Like he can just come and he can ask for $40 billion a year and say that's what I want is $40 billion. Well, I mean, I'll take $4 billion. I'll do it for less. You guys put me as the dictator in the Ukraine, and I'll do it for $4 billion a year. How about that? It's a discount. It's like 10%. I think I ain't no mathematometrist, but I'll do it for 10%. Oh, if you guys get a chance, go to we don't sell these yet, but if we get a demand for it, send us an email. This is from therealj6.com. We sell t-shirts on there, stickers, crayons and helmets for you Marines. No, we don't really sell that, but they need those things. And I, shout out to my January 6th brothers, man, because I know some guys having a really hard time. I know at least 7 people that I can think of going through divorce as a result of January 6th. And so they come home, and I've heard it described like this, like it was like I was buried, and they kind of had moved on with their lives because I had been gone for 4 years, and my business had moved on, like the business I started, and then I went to prison, and my wife took it over. And my business has kind of moved on beyond me, and I didn't really have a spot in there anymore. Or like my mother buddy told me, he said, I came home and it was like a ghost showed up at the house, and they didn't know, they weren't prepared. They didn't necessarily want me around. And so it was very difficult. They felt on the outside of every conversation. And I know part of that is probably us feeling awkward and like maybe you feel like everybody has moved on with you. And I can relate to that. I know a lot of people that have moved on in my life. But this is the new normal. I had a really hard time adapting to life and understanding what my new normal was going to be. And this guy who does he trains pastor, he does like team building and leadership training for pastors. If that sounds weird that a pastor would need leadership training, but he does. And I kept telling him, like, man, I just want to feel normal. I don't feel like I'm normal right now. And he's like, Shane, normal is an idol that the devil has you pursuing that you can never attain. Because first of all, my life was never normal ever. And second, you just got pardoned by the president. Your life's probably never going to be normal again. You were caught in the largest government entrapment operation ever. Now it's coming to be proved that it was legitimate that we were there at the Capitol, and it was probably legitimate that had we really wanted to insurrect and overthrow the government, it probably would have been justified because there was interference in the election by foreign entities, and our government tried to cover it up. So we should have been there raising hell or doing whatever, even though that was not the intent of anybody there. So I say all that, and I cannot fathom how this is going on in our country. And I feel like we're headed in the right direction, but then again, I feel like there's people trying to subvert this whole process. And that kind of leads me to my next clip, which is Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. Like, Ted Cruz got caught with his pants down by Tucker Carlson. And I watched, I guess it was Brandon Tatum, talk about how, Tucker didn't want answers to those questions, and he didn't.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah. How could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the
I mean, in Ted Cruz's defense, I don't know how many people. You can go back to that, but in his defense, I don't know how many people live in Iran. But again, I'm not a sitting senator, and it's kind of irrelevant. And he does hit that. He says whether it's 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, whatever it is, why does that matter? But it shows like you want to feed this machine that is intent on destroying a people, and you don't even know how many people live there or what kind of repercussions this is going to have, what kind of destabilizing events this is going to have in the Middle East. And it's already a very unstable region. And people would probably say I'm an isolationist, but I don't want to get in the middle of Ukraine and Russia. I don't. It has zero to do with my daily life. And if Russia bombed the hell out of it and killed everybody in Ukraine, I could really give a damn. It would be a tragedy, and I'd feel sad for the Ukrainian people. But I also know a lot of the stuff that a lot of people don't know about the Azov brigade in the Ukraine and how they are literally Nazi white supremacists. A lot of people don't know that. But and then you go to Israel and Iran, and how long have they said that Iran is 2 weeks away from having a nuclear warhead? Yeah, they're creating more. They're enriching uranium at a faster rate than ever before, and this, that, and the other. But they should have. So they have enough for a bomb, I'm sure, and they haven't done it yet. So I just feel like they just want to. I mean, they're doing the same thing they've been doing, lobbing missiles at each other, and whether it's Iran funding Hezbollah or Hamas or whatever it is, it's the same thing over and over again. And if Israel wants to send their troops in there on the ground to go in there and fight the Iranian military and the Iranian government, or go in there and foment a revolution against the Iranian government, do that. I mean, I know they could use our CIA. They're great at doing color revolutions and going over there and overthrowing the government from within, using the people to rebel against the government. They're great at that, just like they did it on January 6th. They could do it over there in Iran. But I just don't understand what exactly that has to do with us. But if you can go a little deeper into that conversation with Tucker and
overthrow the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that
because if
relevant?
you don't know anything about the country,
I didn't say I don't know anything about.
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even. You don't know anything about Iran, so
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
They're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe
we're
that,
carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was
right with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because
he said we are. Like we are. Well, no, Israel is with our help. Like so. And just like Tucker said, he said if we felt like Iran was responsible for trying to kill President Trump, would we not be bombing the hell out of those people over there? Abso-freaking-lutely we would. Trump would be like, he would already been like, oh, Israel's going in there. Well, let's send our guys with them, or let's just bomb them into oblivion until they can't fight back, which is probably very feasible. We can fight them from the air. They already took out all their air defense and all that. We could just bomb the hell out of them. Okay, no big deal. But I don't know that that's exactly true. I don't know where it goes, but I think we're getting to the deeper point, which is who is funding Ted Cruz? Who do all of our sitting congressmen and senators have an AIPAC representative that's tied to them? Absolutely, they do. And it's funny to me that one of the larger people on the take from AIPAC was Dan Crenshaw, which Dan Crenshaw used to be my congressman here. Yeah, I patched Dan. And I used to really like that dude until I really started to see that he is a military industrial complex guy. But also, like, these people are taking all this money from AIPAC. And so why are we taking money from a PAC that is aligned with a specific government, which is the Israeli government? It seems very sus to me, and I don't like it, and I don't trust it, and I don't think just like JFK tried to get rid of AIPAC, and then he got assassinated right after that. And sure enough, Israel had ties to all of that. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think it was an accident. You start to get these things that kind of correlate together, and if there's enough of them, I'm kind of like, okay, I may not be statistically, I could probably be right if I picked which one I thought did it. And so I just don't think. I think it's a very dangerous game. I don't think that anybody should be accepting money from anybody other than the American people. That's the only peoples whose opinion should be mattering to these elected officials. I understand, and Ted Cruz gets into it later about him believing that Israel is God's chosen people, and those who bless Israel will be blessed by God, and all that. And I know that's probably butchered that, but close enough for government work. But I don't think that I don't think we need to be worrying about the interest in Israel. I think if you worried more about what the American people wanted from you, we would be a lot further along. And that goes from John Cornyn to Lindsey Graham to Tom Tillis. Ted Cruz he used to go to my church in Houston. I'm pretty sure my pastor went to Joe Biden's inauguration with him. And so, Ted is the better of the two Texas senators, which he's not in the last place, but he's almost in last place. And he did call January 6ers domestic terrorists. And I'm just like, bro, what is wrong with you? Like, why? It's one thing to say, obviously we talk about January 6th on here too much, but it was a riot that got out of hand. And as a matter of fact, come to find out, it was a justified riot. Even if it was a riot, I don't even think it was. It was people being attacked and assaulted by law enforcement. The law enforcement were being agitated by agitators, and the crowd was being agitated by agitators, and you get what you get. But it was justifiable. They were installing Joe Biden in an illegal, rigged, stolen election. So I don't understand. Anyways, back to the video if we can. I get sidetracked too much. You got to hit play. Shout out to Maurice, my producer. I give him a hard time, and I always catch him off guard and never give him enough time to get prepared for the show. So he is doing a good job. For somebody who's
the U.S. government last night did not.
You're fine. Go ahead.
The National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
this is
Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
Yeah. Tucker, bro, Ted Cruz, you walked into a trap right there. Whatever you had going on, you were not prepared for that. And I feel like that might be the end of Ted Cruz's political career. And unfortunately, I'm okay with that. Like, I feel like he's been around, I think he said like 12 years or something like that. Like, it's probably time to go. I would rather have him than like Beto O'Rourke. But man, dude, we have got to, and I worry about a lot of this, like with our politicians, like, okay, Donald Trump's gone next year. JD Vance doesn't look like he would be a bad replacement. His connections to Yale are kind of concerning to me, and the Skull and Bones and all that, but whatever. I'll take that chance with him, but I don't know who you put in. I like Byron Donalds. There's a few Republicans that I like, but man, how many of these people are on the take from AIPAC, and how many are doing this insider trading stuff? Man, there's just like, it is, I don't know how many people. I think there's 500 and something total if you add up the senators and the Congress people. How many of these people are not on the take, and how many of these people are actually working for the American government? I don't know why we have lobbyists in America anyway. Lobbyists work typically for corporations or organizations. And that's not who they're there to work for. They're there to work for the American people. They should be negotiating for the American people. So whenever these people are passing favorable legislation for these corporations or these organizations, that is at the expense of the American people. And this is about the American people first. And it is absolutely abhorrent that you people would whore yourselves out to these people who work against the interests of the American people. It is disgusting, and that is what I think that people hate about the America First movement. It's about the American people, and I think that our betters there in D.C. want us to sit down and shut up and do what we're told. And I'm sorry, but there is a new generation of Americans that refuse to do this, and we are the revolution, and that's what they don't like. And I love that's what this last 4 years has brought us from the Biden administration has been, whether it's this new, like, I'm not a podcaster, I don't know, I know little about a lot about a little and a little about a lot, but it's given us an opportunity to get out there and share the truth that the mainstream media is hidden from us. And I think that it's time for us to start holding people's feet to the fire, metaphorically, for now. But there needs to be accountability. And that is my main thing, is there needs to be some accountability. Trump, January 6th, FBI, Trump. Oh yeah, okay. I mean, I forgot about that. Sorry about that. Oh, and I skipped over that in the song. So I was talking about the song, and I got sidetracked. I lost my train of thought, which has happened several times tonight. Sorry. But so the song that we sang, Donald Trump helped us, and that we released it. It went platinum, and but the people within the DOJ, there's emails that got sent to Senator Chuck Grassley. The people in the DOJ wanted to go after President Trump because they knew that he was helping us with that song. And here it is. These FBI emails prove Biden DOJ targeted Trump over the J6 prison choir or the J6 choir. How freaking petty are you that you're upset that President Trump wanted to help somebody who was hurting and at a disadvantage in prison, that you try to sick the DOJ on him after you've already, how many millions of dollars have you wasted going after this man, wrongly accusing him, getting him shot at and attempted assassinated, that you want to be so petty that you go after him for a freaking song? That is, and I know plenty of rappers and stuff like that have released songs from prison and done all that. It wasn't like he was on the phone with us in the prison and coordinated. They recorded it from prison, and then they took it to him and said, "Do you want to help?" So it says, they said, "Can we do some work to nail down Trump's role in this?" wrote JP Cooney in an email to DOJ colleagues. Senator Grassley called it a clear example of federal government weaponizing the DOJ against Trump. And yeah, of course. And as it was again, surprised they didn't. And they did go after us. Like at my sentencing hearing, they went after me for the realj6.com. They tried to say, this man is profiting off of January the 6th. Well, technically it wasn't in my name, so you couldn't do anything about it. But you're damn right. We're trying to make ends meet. We're trying to protect our families and provide for them out there. Unfortunately, you can't do anything about it. But it just shows how petty they were. These are the people that spit on the floor when they hear the name of Donald Trump, like shed a tear when they think about how January 6th was the worst thing since the Civil War or since 9/11 or Pearl Harbor or whatever, insert whatever horrible event, and that you can compare it to. I'm excited that we're going to be working. The War Boy Studios is going to be working with the America First Warehouse. We haven't implemented that logistically. I want to give another shout out again to my people at Sugar Creek Goods. If you can put that up there again. I don't know if you can see that really, but not that. Just there you go on the bottom of the screen. You're fine. If you can, there you go. There's the Lumberjack bar. That one smells woodsy and manly right there. I really like that one. Sugar Creek Goods. Go to sugarcreekgoods.com, promo code Shane. And those are made with all natural. See, there's the ingredients. oils of lard, olive, coconut, castor, shea butter, cocoa butter, cedarwood, fragrance, walnut, shell powder, made in the USA, sugarcreekgoods.com. Don't forget promo code Shane. And I will be bathing with one of those tonight. So check them out. Please share their website if you can. Really, really good people. Made in Indiana by American patriots. Made in the USA. Also follow us on Rumble /The Real J6. Share out our content if you can. Give us a shout out. We appreciate you always tuning in, to our show. We're trying to grow it, trying to get better at it. And as you can see, we played some clips tonight. We got the banner going tonight, and it's going to be a work in progress, but I'm looking forward to building a relationship with the ladies and the men out there. If Natalie Winters, if you're watching, if you want to come on the show, we'll have you have you on in studio. No, I'm just playing. But thank you all for those of you who support us out there, and for those of you who hate us, keep hating, hater. It's fun. You're just low key a fan out there, so it's okay. Shout out to my boys at the War Boys Studios, Zach Reel, Barry Ramey, Enrique, everybody. Joe the Box, we love you. President Trump, again, as always, thank you so much for pardoning me and the J6 crew, because man, it was there were some dark days, but you helped us get through. So God bless you, sir, and God bless the United States of America. Don't forget, America, we're playing chess, not checkers.